What is up, my beautiful people? It is Wednesday. It is the Late Night Agenda. And the good news, the international fixtures are over. And we can finally start looking ahead to Liverpool's game against Manchester City at the Etihad. Saturday, 12:30. Definitely didn't say Sunday there. You heard nothing. I don't make mistakes. We know that at this point. How are we, ladies and gentlemen? I've loads to get through tonight. We're going to be filling you guys in on a change of direction, apparently, for Liverpool's recruitment team. We're going to be looking ahead to the game at the weekend. We're going to be, of course, bigging up Oosh because I forgot to do Oosh on Monday. So Wednesday is now officially Oosh Day this week. And appreciate you all being in with us earlier on. Myself and Adam were talking about multi-club ownership and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was good over on top of the league as well. So, I was on time today, by the way. You know, it's unusual. So those of you that were actually here at 8:30 got to see, I don't know, like a comet in the sky. Craig being on time. What have we got in the chat? Let's see. Zakira's in. The Red Baron's in. Omar's in. Zakir. Who else? Rachel's in. Mahmood is in. Brett. Daddy Banks. Colin, of course, as well. Mark, our chief moderator, is in the house. So yeah, look, I hope you've all survived the international break as well as can be expected. To the best of my knowledge, none of Liverpool's ties were broken by international managers. So I think we'll get everybody back fit and ready to go for the game on Saturday. So good. What will I start with tonight? We'll just have a bit of a Q&A, if that's all right, for a few minutes while we wait for the chat to build up. So fire me some questions that you'd like me to answer really quickly, and then I'll get into the news. I like to wait about 10 minutes because then the chat's usually around its peak and we can get stuck into it. So any questions, have at it. No major injuries, yay. Yeah, I know. It's rare. At least it feels rare for Liverpool to come out of an international break with no new injury concerns. Do I want City relegated? I don't think relegation's strong enough if all those charges are proven. So, I said this before, I would want them fined into oblivion. But, if they're relegated, they've been proven guilty. So, I'll say yes. Let's go with that. Anyone injured for City or not? I don't know. I fully expect Haaland to be back, Rodri to be back. Ederson, I truly don't know the answer to. Obviously, he didn't take part in the internationals with Brazil. So I don't know on that one. But I expect Pep Guardiola to have a pretty strong team. I'm not expecting any major surprises. I know Grealish and Foden had a couple of cuts, I think, from the North Macedonian pitch. But again, I don't think that's anything to overly concern Guardiola. Hey, sexy, you seem energetic. I'm ready for City. Yeah, I'm feeling alright, mate. I'm happy to be through another international break. And do you know what, Colin? Honestly, I'm just very excited because between now and March, we've a lot of football to get through, a lot of footy to be played, a lot of watch-alongs to do, and a lot of content to make. And that makes me happy, that there's no more silly international breaks. I know the AFCON is on, but, real football for us, as in club football, will continue during that time. So this is the exciting time of the year for me where I really look forward to that festive season of football and the games coming twice a week. Am I afraid of City? I mean, yes. I think probably yes. Yeah, I don't say afraid, but I'm certainly under no illusions that it's going to be a very difficult task to go to the Etihad and get a result. Recent history hasn't been great there, but we can do it. But I'd like this game to have been on a Sunday ideally, so we can both have recovered and it'll be a better game and a better product for the Premier League. Obviously the game couldn't be on Sunday because City are playing in the Champions League midweek. So yeah. The only downside I have about this game is the kick-off time. Not because I think it impacts us more harshly than City, it's because I just don't think the Premier League are going to get the best game of football to be seen around the world that we might have had if the players had more rest. Don't like this coming back after an international break straight into a Man City game. It feels like the Premier League are shortchanging itself and its viewers around the world. This should be a game where we see the best of English football highlighted. Players at the peak of their powers, two managers going head to head, But I think we'll get a watered down version of that. Craig, do you think Liverpool tried hard for Bellingham? Not hard enough is the answer I'm going to give you there, mate. Not hard enough. I felt like we walked away too early in that race, before decisions had been made. Can you explain the City punishment thing, as I don't know what's going on? Well, so there is no way I can explain it to you at the minute, Omar, my friend, because quite simply, there's no punishment yet. So Manchester City have been charged with 115 breaches of Premier League profit and sustainability. So I can't give you more than that, mate, until we get the resolution, because it would be guesswork. I can talk to you in more depth about the Court of Arbitration for Sport and their ruling that overturned Manchester City's 2-year Champions League ban. I can talk about a few other bits and pieces, but ultimately, mate, 115 charges they've got to answer. And what I can say, Omar, is no matter who you talk to about this, City fans, Liverpool fans, United fans, whatever, everybody wants it resolved quickly. It's dragging on and on and on. And that's because Manchester City are making it as difficult as possible. And they aren't helping with any of these investigations. They didn't help out with the UEFA investigation. They're not helping the Premier League out with the investigation. And anybody you speak to, or any comments that you see attributed to these investigations, go out of their way to say how difficult City made it to get access to anything. So, yeah, don't really have much more on that. Love the new logo. Looks stunning. Thank you. It is. It's just a little change. Nothing too dramatic, mate, but it's beautiful. So the Court of Arbitration for Sport are corrupt. So here's something I learned from watching that documentary. The one that's up on YouTube, Britain's Biggest Football Scandal. I watched that last night. One of you guys very kindly suggested it in the chat, so I gave it a watch. And I didn't realise that the 3-judge adjudicatory panel for the Court of Arbitration for Sport had 2 people on the 3-panel judges that were suggested by Manchester City to take part as the judges. Now, for something to be suggested, it would have to have been agreed by the other side as well, but I don't understand in what world an investigation that's supposed to be free from interference or to be completely separate from clubs and UEFA has people appointed to it by people partaking in that process. And surprisingly enough, the Court of Arbitration for Sport voted 2-1 in Manchester City's favour. And that documentary that I watched last night speaks to some very high-powered solicitors, legal minds, forensic accountants, and every single one of them felt that the judgment by the Court of Arbitration for Sport was flawed, and that Manchester City should have been a cut and dry case, basically. So Callum said, basically, if you commit a worse crime, you get more time to cheat and get off. Well, they just keep putting up barriers, mate. You know, okay, I'm sorry for making this comparison. I don't mean this to hurt or annoy anybody from America. It's the only fair comparison I can think of. Look at what's happening in America with Donald Trump and how every single accusation against them is delayed in court, is appealed, and is dragged out to make the process longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, in the hope that people lose appetite and people just say, what's the point, it's too long, and throw their hands up in the air. That's kind of what's happening with the Manchester City thing. At every opportunity, they're putting up roadblocks and they're appealing and they're dragging the process out, while at the same time starting to come out with nonsense publicly like, well, let's hurry this process along. They in no way want to hurry it along. They are hoping that it becomes so much of a financial pain in the arse, so much of a difficult case to prove, that everybody just goes, oh. And nothing else. Like, the length of time it's taken, people become desensitized to the fuckery, to the shenanigans that has been undertaken, and people just accept it. I won't. I'll never be one of those people. So, look, as I said, loads for us to get through tonight, my friends, but I do want to give a quick shout out to our amazing sponsors, Oosh, and there is 2 competitions I want to let you guys know about. So, Oosh are, of course, the home of giveaways, whether that is cars, cash, tech, holidays, or of course those all-important Liverpool Football Club packages. Our good friends at oosh.com have got you covered. Right now they have a belter of a draw coming up for Liverpool versus Manchester United, the annual whooping of Manchester United at Anfield. They have a fantastic draw where you can win 2 tickets seated together in the Carlsberg dugout for Liverpool versus Manchester United, Saturday 16th of December. You get those 2 tickets together, so you get that beautiful corporate hospitality. You get 1 night's accommodation at the Apart Hotel Adagio, Liverpool City Centre. You get €300 in Ryanair vouchers. If you don't need them, they will happily give you the €300 in cash as an alternative. And all of this for an entry of just €18. The draw is taking place this Thursday, tomorrow at 10 p.m. on the Oosh official Facebook page. So do check it out there if you want to enter. You can get yourself 10% off this draw and any of the draws at oosh.com by using our discount code AA10 or by scanning that QR code on the screen. And another quick one I want to draw your attention to is they have a €50,000 tax-free cash giveaway. The draw is taking place on the 11th of December. It's €9 to enter, but of course you can get your entry for €8.10 with our discount code AA10. And thank you to our friends at Oosh. Right, so loads to get through tonight. Where do we want to talk first? Do we want to talk about Liverpool's change of direction in the transfer market? Because lots of stories today saying that Liverpool are not looking for a number 6 now, be it Andre or anybody else. Liverpool's change of direction sees us going towards the defensive reinforcement route in January, which, do you know what? I've spent a few hours today thinking about it. I understand it. And if you look at the situation right now with the fullbacks as an example, it's kind of Trent or nobody on the right, and it's an injured Andy Robertson being replaced by Costas, and of course some potential injuries at centre-back. So I have to say, I do understand it. I do understand why maybe defence is more of a priority at this moment in time than bringing in the number 6. Ideally, as fans, we'd want both, right? But, you know, we'll take you through the stories today and we'll see how we got to this position. It does very much look like we're going to have Andre going to Fulham. We'll speak about that in a moment as well. And what else have I got on the list for tonight? A little bit from the Telegraph about how Newcastle were part of that rebellion, or led that rebellion yesterday, blocking the potential changing to the rules that would have stopped this inter-club loaning of players. And a few bits on Virgil van Dijk, a latest update on Thiago Alcantara as well, and his proposed move to Barcelona, and anything else that you guys want to discuss. Right, so let's start off with some of your comments, right? We need a DM, bro, said King Mo. We do. But let me paint you a picture slightly differently. And again, some of this is taking a leap of faith. So right now we have Alexis McAllister and Endo as what we would think of as the 2 most likely candidates to play in the number 6 role. And I don't think any of us are convinced on either yet that either is a solution. But let's say, for instance, in the next 2-3 weeks, Bajcetic comes back in, and Bajcetic fitness holds up and he's back to himself. Then we're going into the January market with a fit Bajcetic, Endo and McAllister as options in the number 6. So if Liverpool do want to look at defensive reinforcements instead, I kind of understand it, mate. I'm not saying we don't need a 6, but if Bajcetic is close to coming back, I can understand the roll of the dice a little bit more than right now. If Bajcetic still isn't available by the time the January window opens, then I think we have another, a bigger issue. But right now, when I read this today, I was disappointed, to be honest with you. I was disappointed like everybody else because, when you get linked with a player for a while and you speak about Andre and you think about him and you start to almost imagine him in your midfield, when you hear the news that we're not really in that race anymore, it's disappointing. It is. But let's read you through what the Mirror are saying here about the Andre situation. So they say, the latest suggestions being that Fulham have moved out in front of other Premier League clubs in the race to sign Andre from Fluminense. They go as far as to say that the Fulham club's CEO has flown out to Brazil to engage in talks with his Fluminense counterparts to propose a deal. This piece goes on to say Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United were amongst clubs linked to the player. But as of right now, it looks like Fulham are leading the race. In fact, I will go further. It's been said today that Liverpool aren't in the race anymore. And if we're not in the race, I'd rather he went to Fulham than he went to United or Arsenal. So, yeah, look, I'm going to just ask the first question tonight. Are you disappointed that Liverpool aren't in for Andre? Because I can only assume we have other targets for the summer then. So let's get the first poll of the night up. Okay, there we go. So, I'm just asking a simple one. Are you annoyed that Liverpool are not in for Andre? And look, the more I see this today, the more I see where it's coming from, the more I do believe firmly that as things stand, we are not interested at this moment in time. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that the same people that were much more optimistic when I spoke to them in October feel a lot more pessimistic about it now in November. And that's just 1 month. I don't know if that's because of the injury. For instance, when I spoke to those people in October, Robbo hadn't been injured yet. It actually happened about 2 days later. So maybe that changed the club's thought process here. Maybe Liverpool think now that this position's far more pressing of a need. Don't really care as long as we get a quality DM, said Nevermore. I'm not disappointed. I've never watched them play, said Frankly You're Wrong. I can hear you thudding. Oh yeah, I'm terrible when it comes to typing, mate. It's like I'm punching the keyboard, definitely. Everyone says it to me, even on my phone. If I'm messaging when I'm talking to a mate and they're on the phone, they say that it's very aggressive. Craig, we're a very sneaky club when it comes to transfers. Look how many unexpected class transfers we've pulled off in Klopp We Trust. I mean, I find it hard to push back on that, Omar, because you know what you said is true. But for me, when I heard today that Fulham CEO had made the trip over to Brazil, you know, that's when you see a club are very, very, very serious. If he's over there already trying to negotiate. Because Fulham, they know that they're going to lose João Palhinha. And, you know, we spoke about how long Liverpool have been interested in Andre. I think Fulham have been interested as long, if not maybe even a little bit longer than Liverpool. And in the summer, you know, we hadn't resolved some of our midfield rebuild yet. So when we were really being linked with Andre, we hadn't signed Ryan Gravenberch at that point either. Are FSG pulling a sly one on us again? No, I don't think this is down to the owners, to be fair. I think this would be more Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, Kravitz, kind of thinking what the priority would be. You know, again, when you've got... You know, I know we think of the January window, we think of money, right? And we think of that being the reason why maybe a deal does or doesn't get done. But it's also the process of getting that deal done during a really hectic period for football clubs where the games are coming thick and fast between December and January. And the managers and the players, now they're all focused on getting the results. So sometimes it's just a matter of not having enough time to do due diligence or... priorities change. And in this case, the vibe seems to be from the media that Liverpool's priorities are just changing a little bit ahead of the January window. But you know what? I'm somewhat happy because go back and watch pretty much most of our live streams over the past few months, and I've said to you guys, I don't see Liverpool going in for a defender in January. I didn't see it. But now, for the first time, I probably feel more confident that we will see defensive reinforcement brought in January. So, either way, it looks like we're trying to solve one of the two problems that most of us feel we have. And that's better than nothing. I'd rather we bring in a defender than we just sit on our hands in January and allow the window to pass us by. Barco is possible in January. I would imagine so. From the perspective that I think is the Argentinian league along the same kind of time frame as the Brazilian league. So are they ending soon? If that is the case, and I've got to be honest, I don't know when the Argentinian league finishes. I know the Brazilian one finishes the start of December. So perhaps. Unpopular opinion, Andre is not good enough for Liverpool. I don't know if that's unpopular, Alexander. It's very difficult to make the judgment one way or the other. You can look at a player and you can see things you like in him, but until he makes his way to Europe and plays in a top league, we may not know. So I guess if he goes to Fulham, buddy, we're going to find out soon enough if he's good enough for the Prem. We need a Fabinho-like DM. Yeah, I mean, I wonder will we revisit Manu Kone as an example in the summer or something like that. So, I'm going to read you out another post that is from Team Talk. They say, whether accurate or not in terms of names, this provides a hint what Liverpool are looking to do in future windows. They say that Liverpool are unofficially out of the race to sign Andre, and Fulham look to be likely to go ahead and complete a £30 million move. This is not down to the midfielder himself, but the reason lies with the club shifting their attention towards defensive reinforcements. And this piece goes on to name, again, Sporting's Goncalo Inacio as one of the options that Liverpool could look to go after. I hope that's not true, because again, if Liverpool pay 60 million 6 months after we could have had him for 40, it just feels stupid. Give me the fucking 20 million. I could do with it. I'm sure you guys could do with it. Save that 20 million and don't charge season tickets for a year. For the love of God. 20 million quid. We can't be that stupid, surely. It just seems madness to me. Madness. I think Andre will pick up a lot of red cards in the Premier League. He'll have to adjust his game a bit. Certainly the Brazilian league is a physical one, and he's been picking up plenty of bookings there. Hincapie, he's a name that I'll be talking about, Sebastian, in a few minutes. There is a piece on Hincapie that came out today as well, so I will take you through that in a little bit. Will Thiago ever play for us again? Well, it's interesting you bring up Thiago in that sense. Who asked that question? Fred. So, I said to you guys yesterday that there was a report in Spain that suggested with Gavi having picked up an ACL injury and ruling him out for about 7 months, Barcelona are in the market for a midfielder. Well, another outlet today, Mundo Deportivo, via Sport Witness, have come out and said Barcelona are considering a move for Thiago. The link surrounding their interest in the Liverpool midfielder continues to persist. Thiago is out of contract in the summer and currently has injury problems on Merseyside. The outlet claimed that Liverpool's man, meets the requirements for the Catalan club to bolster their squad. So, I'm okay with letting Thiago go, because I don't see him having a big impact for us this season, and he's out of contract at the end of the season. So, as I've said before, if you can get about 800 grand a month off your wage bill 6 months earlier before his contract was due to expire, I'd let him go. Now, there are benefits to Thiago staying for the remainder of his contract. Of course, one of those being 6 more months on the training ground working with Stefan Bajcetic and Alexis McAllister and other players and helping them, hone their craft. But ultimately, 800 grand a month's a lot of money to save for a football club, and if Barcelona are interested in Thiago, I wouldn't be against Liverpool. Okay, this sounds harsh, but I mean tearing up his contract or letting him leave on a free. Would you sell Gomez? Not now, not at this moment, no. I think Joe Gomez's current versatility is one of the plus points for him at this moment in time. because we could need to use him at left back. We've certainly seen him at right back, and of course you can play him in either of the centre back positions. Great player, Thiago, Ali is saying, could have been a game changer, too injury prone. Yeah, I mean, I guess, Ali, if we look at it this way, mate, we paid what, 25 million euro for Thiago? So I feel like we got our value there. I don't think we've seen the best of Thiago at Liverpool, but we've seen moments. We've seen a few games where Thiago was at his best. We've too many forwards. We should sell one. How do we have too many forwards? I don't get that. In what world do we have too many forwards? So the old adage is you want 2 players in every position. Liverpool have 3 forward positions that we need to fill each week. So in theory, you need 6 forwards, right? And we've got 5 that we're very comfortable with at the top level, and then some youngsters coming through. The likes of Doak, Trent Cone-Doherty, Kate Gordon, those players that we keep talking about. So I don't think we have too many by any stretch at all. Did you watch I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here? No, I don't, mate. I'd rather stick pins in my eyes than watch that crap. I did watch it when I was younger, but as I've grown older, I've got busier things to be getting on with, and I don't have the spare time to be sitting around watching people do weird shit in the jungle. What's your opinion on Anderson from Crystal Palace? Too limited for Liverpool would be my opinion on him. Good for Crystal Palace, just don't see him having the attributes that we'd need at Liverpool. Right, so really quickly, I want to just talk about something the Telegraph have put up today. So they said that it was a Newcastle United-led rebellion that has narrowly defeated the Premier League's proposals to effectively ban the club borrowing players from the Saudi Pro League. This really gets my back up, because 1, the Premier League should have never, ever, ever, ever let state ownership in. And by doing so, with both Manchester City and now rubber stamping the PIF's 80% ownership of Newcastle, they've opened up themselves to this type of fuckery. And that's what I'm going to describe it as. So it was a Newcastle United-led rebellion, according to the Telegraph. It's hard to have sympathy for the Premier League when they've caused this themselves. And it's hard to have sympathy for some other sets of football fans who spent a long time laughing at the rest of us for not wanting this type of stuff to happen. Because, as Adam said earlier on top of the league, it feels like they're always one step ahead. It feels like these regimes are always one step ahead of the rules. Look at Todd Bowley and the way he's manipulated the contract lengths and stuff like that. It's going to be difficult now to get the toothpaste back in the tube. And football is suffering a huge image problem at the minute because of the shadiness and because of the unwillingness for transparency. Craig, my one and only dream is to do a watch along with you. Do you think we can make it happen? I don't know who you are, respectfully. So I could be talking to a 10-year-old, a 50-year-old, or a pet pigeon. So I don't know, mate. I don't know if we can make it happen. I'm not saying we can't make it happen, but you know, I'll need a little bit more info than that. But thank you for your super chat, Jay and Rob Gaming. Oh, also can confirm Leo's Goals will be joining me on Monday for a live stream right here on Anfield Agenda at 8:30. You guys asked for it. We've reached out, of course, and Leo very kindly agreed to come on. So Monday, 8:30, myself and Leo will be here for, I guess, a live Q&A and a catch-up. Be nice to meet the man. Be nice to congratulate him on his 100k subscribers and all the great work he's doing as well. So keep an eye out for that one coming up on Monday. When is Thiago back? And who the fuck is Mark? Again, Adam. I'm not Mark. Thankfully, I'm the actual talented, funny one. I don't know when he's back either. You know, He's supposed to be back before the season started. That's why he had the operation at the end of last season, early, before the season even finished. Do you think Klopp will get a contract extension or want one? So on that, Paul, there was a report that came out that said that Liverpool are going to be offering Klopp that new deal, and that Klopp is showing an interest in one. Now, I haven't been able to get a proper confirmation on that, so again, I'd say take that with a massive pinch of salt. But I'll say this, Paul, it's better waking up and reading that news than waking up and hearing even an unconfirmed rumour that he's definitely not extending. So as long as it's a possibility, it's good news, in my opinion. Right, so what else have we got to go with here? So Glenn Johnson has been following suit with a lot of the South American press in lauding Darwin Nunez for a brilliant patch of form that he's in right now. He scored 3 goals during the international break for Uruguay. He's been in great form for us, albeit missing a few chances. His work rate is phenomenal. And Glenn Johnson's been speaking to Squawka, and this is what he said about Darwin Nunez. I think Nunez has absolutely become one of Europe's elite. Excuse me, I'm going to start that again. I think Nunez could absolutely become one of Europe's elite. He's impressed me a bit last year, even when he wasn't scoring, because he was still a threat. You always worry about the strikers, and not only when they aren't scoring, but they aren't affecting the game. But you could never say that's true of Darwin Nunez. Of course, he does miss chances, but he creates lots for his teammates. He's a threat to defenders. He's a fantastic player, and he looks the real deal. People talk about his temperament, but I think that's what makes him who he is. You don't want to lose, and you have to harness that. He finishes out by saying, if you want him to be perfectly behaved all the time, you lose part of what makes him unique. As long as he can control it, I'd say keep him calm and calculated. He's fantastic. Spot on. And the media in Uruguay and in South America have been lauding Darwin Nunez for his performances, for his work rate, and for his improvement since Bielsa became the Uruguay national team coach. So yeah, brilliant. More love for Darwin, and I agree. I think Darwin Nunez is really starting to hit his stride at Liverpool. Okay, sorry, I'm just going through my notes here again, just so I don't forget something. We've done that one, we've done that one. Who starts, Jota or Nunez? So I've done my preview. It is up on the channel. I wanted to put it out a day early this week because we've got the early kickoff on Saturday. So if you get a chance, do please go and watch the Anfield Agenda preview of the game. I've given you a score prediction. I've given you a starting 11 prediction, but I'm not going to tell you here because of course I want you to watch it. Wayne said, you should try do a live stream with Tom FIFA Heaven. He's a massive Liverpool fan and he's Hungarian too. He has a YouTube channel. So, I don't mean this to sound rude, Wayne, to him or anybody else, but I'm not chasing anyone. If people want to come on and do a video or a chat with us, they're always welcome. But you got to knock on our door now. You know, I've clawed and scraped my way to the top of this pile, and if anybody wants to do stuff with us, knock on the door, and we'll warmly welcome you and open you in. But yeah, the days of me traipsing around trying to chase down people are done. I think I've earned the right now to be the one people want to come on to. So no problem doing a stream with himself, that gentleman there, or anybody else. But I'm not going to run in after them. Do you think Klopp will stay if Mbappe comes? Well, yeah. Because I would imagine at that point, and who asked that question? Because I like to... Maddie, I would imagine that if in that scenario Mbappe comes, Klopp would be a big selling point for him. So... yeah, I think continuity of manager and knowing who you would be working with could play a big factor in some signings. Yes, definitely. Like, a lot of me wonders, would the potential of a Mohamed Salah contract extension be benefited if he knew Jurgen was going to be staying a bit longer again? Or players that, like, let's say we go out this summer with Klopp having 2 years to go on his deal. if you're bringing in a player and you're signing them on a 5-year contract, let's say you're bringing in a 22-year-old left back, that player is going to want to know that the manager that had belief in him to bring him into the club also has plans to be there to help him become the player he wants to be. So it's certainly no harm if your manager is like, no one's going to sack Klopp. So it's not going to be the case that Klopp won't be here because he's sacked, which happens at other clubs occasionally. But it's never a bad thing to know that your manager's going to be there for the next 3, 4, 5 years. On the Salah stuff, actually, I've seen a couple of posts this week, and I think Fabrizio Romano was talking about it on his Kick stream, where there's almost, I don't want to say a hope, but a belief that there will be a negotiation to be had with Mohamed Salah. Because it's very quiet at the minute, and we're getting to dangerous territory now because the Saudi clubs are going to come back in for Mo. There's no way we let him leave in January, so they can throw any number they want at Liverpool and that won't be taken seriously. But in the summer, we need to know what's happening. And I think we need to know early doors, because we don't want this to drag on over the summer, because uncertainty with Salah will lead to uncertainty in the transfer market, will lead to uncertainty in the dressing room. So hopefully before this season finishes, we know one way or the other what's going to be happening with Mo. We all, of course, hope he signs an extension, but he can't sign an extension if one isn't put in front of him. So the sooner the better we get some concrete information on the resolution to whatever this is going to be. I think it'll help us. Craig, you're a real one, 100%. Thank you. Appreciate that, my man. Sometimes my mouth gets me into trouble because I say things I shouldn't. But speaking about saying things I shouldn't, I'm going to call somebody out here. I don't call people out very often these days, but I feel like somebody needs to be called out for some fuckery. So, footballinsider247.com have a little bit of form for screwing over journalists. The latest being Kieran Maguire, who had his name attributed to an article that quite simply wasn't about Kieran Maguire and quotes that Kieran Maguire didn't say. And it was a bit of a bait and switch. And it's not the first time it's happened. It's happened before. So basically, what they did was they took a quote from Kieran Maguire from a podcast and put it into an article and attached it as Football Insider sources say, making it look like David said these things himself or Kieran said these things himself. And he hasn't. And they did it to David Lynch as well. And these journalists, or in this case, Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, have worked long and hard to build their reputations. And they will stand over their work and their quotes and what they say. But everything needs context and everything needs to be transparent and clear. And this website in particular seems to be going out of its way to fuck these people over. And we're talking about people's reputations here. So stop it. And I hope more people call them out for this nonsense, because it's not fair. It's not fair on the journalists or the experts that are giving their time to these channels or outlets to have their work bastardized for clicks and views. So stop it, basically. Be better, because you're not giving the rest of us a great name. I would give anything to see Mbappe, Nunez and Salah. Oh, Dania, so would I. I've said this the other day. Imagine that, even for 2 years. Imagine Mbappe, Nunez, Salah. Oh. Or Mbappe, Nunez, Diaz, if Mo moves on. Oh, be awesome, wouldn't it? Okay, what else have we got? So, Hincapie. I did say I had a little bit on Piero Hincapie, and I'm not going to leave you high and dry. So, the Evening Standard are the latest ones to suggest that Liverpool's priorities are shifting towards a defender. And there were some comments recently from Manuel Sierra, who was Piero Hincapie's agent. He said, for January, they're talking with Hincapie, the club, I think, like other clubs have, he added. They go on to say he's an exciting one to watch, obviously doing really well with Xavi Alonso. And with Liverpool's priorities changing, I'm wondering, will we see Liverpool pursue Piero Hincapie in the January market? Because I would personally prefer us to go that route than the Inacio route, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. So let me put this to a poll again. So we did ask, are you annoyed we're not in for Andre? And 73% of you guys said yes. So now I'm going to ask you guys who you'd want. Hincapie or Inacio? Okay. So, polls up there now. Which one of those two gentlemen would you like to see Liverpool Football Club try to sign? Inacio or Hincapie? I will leave that poll running. Oh, I want to have a little quiz for you. I want to have a little bit of a fun game for a minute. So, here's what I want you to do. Describe me with one emoji in the chat. Now, I'll save you time. Egg. I get it. I can see that coming. But let's play a bit of a fun game. Describe me with one emoji in the chat. I'm interested to see which ones you go with. Ouch, said Craig's keyboard. Yeah, I'm just definitely... I could do an EastEnders, you know. Broccoli. Come on now. So, which ones have we got? Angry. I think that's probably a good one. Frankly, you're wrong. It's done an angry face emoji. Goat. I'll take that, Cole. I love that, mate. Well in. Side face laughing emoji. Goat and gorilla emojis. I mean, I'm not hating these ones. I don't know what this purple fella is, Cam Vibes. It's the first time I've seen that one. Fire. I'll take it. Craig with... Is that broccoli? See that broccoli and Craig image that you're using there? I think that's money. When I look at that, I think I'm eating money. I still to this day don't even recognise that as broccoli. Stanislas has called me a pumpkin. Okie doke. I mean, it's different to an egg, I guess. I think a pumpkin's a better shout, though, than an egg. I don't understand what half these... Angel, Ben. Angel. I love it. Nice. Burger. Nice. Good. King. There you go, Craig. Love it. Sweet. Fair play. Thank you. Interested. Just I'd seen somebody else do this earlier on, and I thought, let's try the Anfield Agenda audience and see if they could describe with one thing. Oh, I've got some good news for you. I know how much you love Ben's voice. So, moving forward for the top of the league shows and for maybe Anfield Agenda watch-alongs, we're going to have Ben as a recurring voice to the stream. So, occasionally you'll hear Ben's voice come in with information if I need him to live search stuff or to poke me if I miss a super chat and stuff like that. So, we're going to make Ben a part of the content moving forward. You won't hear him all that often, but you will occasionally hear his dulcet tones coming in for a little bit of a chat. I think it adds to it, and I think you guys enjoy when Ben drops in, so we're going to make that part of the content. So let's have a look at the poll and see how it is so far. So we asked you, who would you like us to sign? And we said Inacio or Hincapie, and so far it is pretty much 2-1 in favour of Piero Hincapie. We're going to have the voice of God now. It's funny you mention that, Mark, because I said that to Ben earlier on. It's going to be like God just coming out of nowhere with a voice like, stop it, do this. I'm not too hopeful this weekend because of the ref, said Dark Ruby. Well, let's have a conversation about the referee, shall we? So, Chris Kavanagh is going to be the official in the centre when we take on Manchester City. Now, there were reports on social media that Chris Kavanagh's brother is a season ticket holder at Manchester City. I have no idea if that's true or not. I don't know. But I also don't believe that he's going to allow that to influence him, even if it is true. You know, if you look at our record with him as referee, I think Mark kindly pointed out to me yesterday, I think something like 15 games, 12 wins, something like that, or 18 games, 15 wins. Like, Manchester City have had 8 games, 5 wins, 2 draws, and a loss with him. So, I'm not overly concerned about the official, because I get it. People are from certain parts of the country, and we like to put on our tinfoil hats. But one thing I'll say is, having listened to the Mic'd Up show in recent weeks, the only good thing I've taken from it is that they at least try to be professional in what they're doing. And it doesn't come across that there's any inherent biases there for or against. The only one I feel very comfortable sitting here and saying that there's a bit of bad blood is Paul Tierney, because it doesn't feel like him and Kloppo ever get on. So I don't like Paul Tierney refereeing our games, but I'm okay with Chris Kavanagh for this one. I don't see it as an issue heading into the game, at least not one that I'd like to flag up as a possible reason for us getting shafted. The match officials will find a way to spoil the game for everyone. You see, that I agree with, Mac. That I very much do agree with. It does feel like lately, the impact of officials, and I'm including the VAR officials in this, is having a detrimental impact on the spectacle, for want of a better phrase, because they'll defend it and say they have to implement the rules, blah, blah, blah. But what about the spectacle? What about the game? Like, I mentioned this on Top of the League earlier, I've got to reiterate it again now. Ange Postecoglou's comments really did make me have a rethink about the whole stop-start nature of VAR, and even removing the quest or the want for perfection in decision-making, which we're never going to get. The stop-start nature of it is probably the biggest selling point for me to scrap it, because he's right. Nobody wants to see everyone standing around for 2, 3, 4 minutes while we try to figure out if somebody's big toe hair was offside. We want the game to be fast-paced. We want them getting on with it. We want the ball gone out of play, coming straight back in. We want the likes of Trent's quick corner, or a ball boy to throw somebody a ball really quickly for a throw-in. We want that. We don't want to lose that from the game. So when I heard Ange Postecoglou speak about that, and then when I thought about that from the point of view of injuries because players are cooling down when they're standing around, yeah, that's been the biggest factor for me in just wanting the impact or the amount of times that we have VARs impacting the game minimalised. It doesn't benefit as a spectacle, as well as, of course, the other reasons we're all pissed off about, which is the decision making. And also, every goddamn Monday, we have this ref watch crap that Sky are ramming down their throats, and every time we've got BT Sports Show or Soccer Saturday, we've got Mike Dean or some other former referee there. We don't give a shit about their opinions. Nobody. I mean that sincerely. I'm sure they're all lovely guys, but nobody gives a shit about a referee's opinion. You know why? Because we've already made up our minds. Regardless of what the refs say, we've made up our minds as football fans. We know what we think of that subject. So whatever Dermot Gallagher says isn't going to change our perception if we feel hard done by. And the selling point of VAR was supposed to be the stopping of these arguments between you and your mates down the pub, or the we were robbed, we would have won if it wasn't for this incorrect offside decision. It was supposed to stop that. But all they've done is create an industry out of it now, where it's more content for the TV companies. So we're not benefiting as fans, but it gives them more selling points. Soon, we'll probably get to the point where it's the VAR decisions are either going to cut to an ad, So you've got a ref onto a monitor. It won't surprise me at all in the next 3, 4, 5 years to see that be a point for a quick 10, 15 second ad inserted in, or a sponsored fucking VAR screen, something like that. Like, it just feels like it's for commercial reasons more than anything else. Who do you think would be on the goal sheet for the game against City? Darwin? I feel like Darwin's in that form at the minute that whenever he's on the pitch, you're going to expect him to score. Referees are a genuine disgrace. We must get rid of the PGMOL. Well, look, it's a difficult job at the best of times, being a referee. But it was a lot easier when we didn't expect perfection. And we all just kind of had to take it on the chin that there was some decisions that we felt were wrong. When it's under the microscope of slow motion, freeze frame shots, and everything is analysed within an inch of its life, it makes it more difficult to take the moments we feel hard done by. So there's always going to be the subjectivity in football, but now it just feels like it's over scrutinised. It's gone the opposite way. Do you think the Liverpool offside goal error influenced the VAR check's length, like their cautiousness? So there's a couple of things to me, Herman, that still don't add up about that Diaz ruled out goal. So, as an example, we heard the VAR official say, check over. But then we heard the referee start the game, and him and the assistant VAR, the replay guy, very quickly realised that it was not a goal awarded on the pitch, it was awarded as offside. So my question is this: who programs the in-stadium VAR screen that the Spurs fans could see goal being checked for offside? Because surely to God, if somebody was programming that screen from the VAR hub, this nonsense about them not knowing that the goal was given as offside is flawed. That's the one part of all of this I haven't been able to square off yet. Because somebody programmed that board to say goal being checked for offside. So how was it all of a sudden that the officials had no idea it was being checked or being given initially as offside? When they said check over, it seemed like they believed check over, no issues, award the goal. But then somebody will have had to have programmed that monitor. And that's the one part of this that I have not heard an answer to yet. Is Maka still suspended? No, he's not. He served his 1-game suspension, and he will be back for the Manchester City game. Yes, Craig, they take ages and they still get it wrong. So, look, it's probably a natural thing for a few weeks after that fuck up that VAR were being extra cautious. Like, look at the situation with Newcastle Arsenal, that there was 3 independent checks there before the awarding of that goal. So, and another great example, by the way, was the penalty for the foul on Enzo when Manchester City played Chelsea. So that was very good VAR work. You got to give credit there, because with the naked eye, a lot of us may have missed that challenge from... Sorry, it was Spurs, wasn't it? Sorry, it was Spurs against Chelsea. A lot of us would have missed that challenge from Romero that fouled Enzo. But it was picked up by VAR. But here's the thing I didn't get. In that process, they seemed to have to rule out lots of other shit before they got there. It should have been offside, was it offside? No, penalty. Go back to that. So that took an overly long length of time for me. You should go to the Liverpool-Manchester City match. Are you going to send me? Do you want to pay for my flights and ticket now, mate? And compensate the lads' wages when I'm not here for the game? Because I can't, because obviously business to run, wages to pay. Plus I don't want to go near the grubby Etihad. I've no interest in setting foot in the stadium. Craig, do you know if Lucho has said anything since his father's comments about Barcelona? I've not seen anything attributed to Lewis directly. You know, his father made his comments. What I can say to you is, and I think you probably know this, Liverpool have flown the Diaz family over to spend Christmas in the UK with Lucho, which was a class touch. So well done to the club on that one. What was in my num num box today? There was a white chocolate and Biscoff blondie and a salted caramel cookie. That was the num num box today, mate. The reason for the screen saying checking offside in the Spurs game is because no matter what, if it's been checked, allowed or disallowed, it still says checking for offside. But it doesn't say... Okay, I mean... I'm trying to think back here. I mean, maybe that's a fair point. Checking for offside. I guess that covers both sides of it. But if they're checking for offside, wouldn't they know the flag has gone up? Because maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, mate. I'll have to go back and look at the actual image that was shown inside the stadium, but you could be right on that one. What do you think happens if we lose the City game? Nothing massive. It obviously creates a possibility for teams to push ahead of us a little bit there, but I think when you're looking at the start of the season and you see the fixtures and you're thinking games you may drop points away from home in, it wouldn't be the greatest surprise in the world if you lost away against, the league winners. So in the grand scheme of things, I think there's more to benefit from it than there is to lose. So if we were to pick up 3 points at the Etihad, I think that will make a far bigger statement than if we lost at the Etihad, if that makes any sense. Do you think we should sign Frimpong or another right back and move Trent into midfield? I still don't understand where Trent goes in midfield, Melvin. If he goes in, like what position in midfield he plays, because he's not a defensive midfielder. I don't really see him having the same impact if he's in the positions of like a Szoboszlai or Gravenberch. So until somebody can categorically tell me what Trent looks like and what part of midfield he plays in for us, I'm going to stick on the side of no, leave him where he is. Because I can't see it. I just don't know where we fit people in if Trent goes into midfield. Do you think we should... I've done that already. If we draw with City and Arsenal beat Brentford, they'd go top, wouldn't they? Yes. I think there's only 1 point at the minute. But yeah, they go ahead by 2 points over us, maybe. 1, 2, 3. We're level with Arsenal, so yeah, they go ahead by 2. You say passing midfielder, but that's not a position. There's no passing midfielder position in Liverpool's team. There's a defensive midfielder, and then there's 2 players that, what I would say, almost drive up and down the half space up the pitch in not always straight lines, but their job is to get up and back, up and back, up and back. I don't see Trent fulfilling that role. You'd almost have to have a 4-2-3-1 system or a 4-2-1-3 system before Trent starts to make any sense to me as a midfielder. One holding midfield player and one player like Trent sitting alongside with somebody else given the license to get forward. But I feel like we're looking for a solution to a problem that I think Klopp's pretty much solved already. Uh, 4-3-3 out of possession, 3-2-2-3 in possession, with Trent in the pivot alongside Andre, another DM. But what you've discussed is us now. So you've literally just described how we play now. So we don't need to change that. Because that system you spoke about, the 4-3-3 that switches to a 3-box-3, that's the way we play now. So again, where's the need to move Trent? If Mo Salah leaves Liverpool, maybe put Szoboszlai right wing. Yeah, look, Szoboszlai can play on the right side of attack, but I would say if Mo Salah leaves Liverpool, we need to go out and bring in another real solid, bona fide attacker. Why are we looking at Inacio? So I'm not convinced that we are looking at Inacio yet. I know the reports are there, but I'm not convinced of it yet. But I am open to the idea that we've switched up and are looking at a defender. I just don't see the Inacio one making sense to me, because there's no reason we wouldn't have done it in the summer if we wanted him, because he was available. Ansu Fati. So Ansu Fati wants to go back to Barcelona at the end of his season-long loan with Brighton. He's having a pretty good spell at Brighton, really starting to look the part. But from what I read the other day, he has full intentions of going back to Barcelona. Now, if Barcelona are willing to sell him, I'm sure if he continues to play as well as he has for Brighton, there will be no shortage of takers, even in the Premier League. But yeah, the plan is for him to go back to Barca as things stand. Klopp summed it up. Yes, Trent can play in midfield, but then we'd be without one of the best right backs in the world. Exactly. It feels like an over-engineering a problem. I think what he has done, and look, Klopp didn't invent this role, but he did utilise it with Trent. I think it's great. You need to have a couple of things for Trent to be able to do what he does. You need a right centre-back who has pace, and you need a right-sided midfielder or attacker like Szoboszlai or Salah who's willing to get back and work for the team and defend and cover. And we have all of those things. So, again, I would say leave Trent where he is. Are we still looking at Pedro Neto? I think his injury track record would rule us out of looking at him. Great player, though. Really do rate Pedro Neto as a footballer, but his injury track record's not great, and he's still relatively young. So you'd have to imagine that's probably going to carry on unless you get a prolonged period where he hasn't had an injury. Does Szoboszlai remind you of Coutinho a little bit? No, not at all. He reminds me of Gerrard a lot more. Yeah, definitely more of a Steven Gerrard. Like, he does way more defensive work than I remember Coutinho doing. And the reason I say Gerrard is he's one of those players that you could put him in anywhere on the pitch and he'd do a job for you. Like Steven Gerrard, who we seen in 2005 play at right back in the second half against Milan. So I think Szoboszlai is just one of those players as well that's just so good you can put him anywhere. What's the latest on the Thiago Barcelona link? Same as yesterday, that they're apparently interested. I can understand it totally with Gavi out for the season, that they'd look at a short-term solution being Thiago. And if it works for everyone, if it works for Thiago, if it works for Liverpool, I wouldn't be against it. Inacio, Barco and Kelly will come in January. Not a fucking hope. Not a hope in hell Liverpool signed 3 players in January. Not a hope. 0. No. There's no way Liverpool bring in 3 defenders in January. Not a hope. Especially not 2 fullbacks. So Lloyd Kelly, he's been linked to Spurs more seriously than us. Barco, I hope that's true, because as I said, I very much liked what I've seen of him. And Inacio, well, look, I can't rule out a defender. I just don't see 3 coming in, mate, in January. Klopp is not a fan of January windows at the best of times, so I can't see 3 players coming in. Craig, you're a good-looking, handsome man, I must say. You bet your fucking ass I am. I'm gorgeous, mate, gorgeous. No, I'm only joking, dude. I don't know, man. I'm married and I don't think about those things anymore at all, to be honest with you. Who is Barco? Valentin Barco is a left back who plays for Boca Juniors. He's 19 years of age. He is, I think, still just an Argentinian under-20 international. I'm not sure if he's made his full debut. Very attack-minded, very energetic, and one of those players that you could look at and see how Klopp could mould him into what we'd need. So, I know you keep asking me to shout out your mate, but I don't like reading out names of people I don't know, because a lot of the time people are you're getting you to read out porn stars' names or, you know, dodgy people's names. And if I don't understand the people's names, I don't go with it, mate. So, if he is your mate, then hello, Ronnie. But other than that, mate, I'm a bit cautious. Can't get my head around why we're out with 6 in January unless there's nobody Klopp wants. So that's a good question. Let's ask the chat. Why do you guys think, and if it is true, that Liverpool have stepped away from looking at number 6 in January? Why do you think that's the case? Is it because of Bajcetic? Is it because of a longer term plan or another target that maybe isn't available till the summer? Are we... I wouldn't even say we're saving money, because if we're going to be in the market, then we're not really saving the money. I'm interested as well, so yeah, let us know your thoughts on it. Congrats on the growth of the channel, mate. Well deserved. Been watching you often from 32,000. Thank you, Gaz. Sometimes I still have to pinch myself, mate. I don't how do I say this without sounding soppy? I'm not used to nice things. I'm not used to life treating me well. I've had a tough time of it. But for some reason, this channel's caught on and people are watching, and I just get up every day and try not to shit the bed. It's as simple as that. I've got massive imposter syndrome. Like, I don't belong here. But for whatever reason, guys, good people like yourself and everybody else here in the chat gives up some of their time to come and have a chat with me, and as long as you guys keep watching, I'm going to keep making the content. So thank you for your kindness, mate. Bayern wants to sell De Ligt. Does that not... Well, I was going to say, does that not sound alarm bells ringing for you? But they also wanted to sell Gravenberch, and that worked out quite well for us, didn't it? Look, I wouldn't hate the idea of Matthias De Ligt at Liverpool. Or Matthias De Ligt, excuse me. Is Rafael Pimenta his agent? I know he was with what's his face before he passed away, Raiola. I don't know. I've not seen a link for us with Matthias De Ligt. Right, so I did ask you guys, why do you think Liverpool are not looking at number 6? So let's go through some of your answers. Sai said FSG's the reason. Blocks the path of Bajcetic, said Nixie Boom. A couple of other shouts for Bajcetic as well. Super 556. Mould Gravenberch into that role. See, I think Stephen Rocca, I think that's a possibility. I really do. There's a lot of attributes that Ryan Gravenberch has that I think could make him into a number 6. So, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. Ain't got a clue if a 6 is badly needed, said Latif. Kieran said Stefan's in the basement, waiting for another target, said Colin Brooks. Waiting for the right person, said Simon Cook. Because of Bajcetic, said United flaw. Isn't Andre more of a box-to-box? No, he's a different type of number 6, but more of a kind of get the ball, move the ball, Thiago kind of deeper player than what you think of like a Fabinho. But he is a combative type of midfielder. What else we got? Who are you most afraid of in the City team? Probably Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne is not there. Haaland doesn't concern me because he'll get chances. It's just a matter of if he scores or not. Probably Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden. You know, two players who, if they're at it, I think are very, very, very difficult to play against. And also, you'd have to be a little bit concerned if Costas is up against Kyle Walker. That Walker will just have him on toast. So, I think we need to go down the Pochettino route of attack is the best form of defence against Manchester City. We're lucky to have Elliott in our squad. What a player. Love the guy. I agree, Owen. And he doesn't get anywhere near enough credit from a lot of Liverpool fans. There was a nice interview with Lee Carsley, who was speaking about, Lee Carsley, obviously former Republic of Ireland international, but current England under-21 manager. And he was speaking about Elliott's almost near perfect statistics, and how clever he is, and how good he is, and how reliable he is. And I often ask myself, why are some Liverpool fans still writing this kid off? Okay, granted, he might not be an established starting 11 player just yet, but the manager clearly trusts him. He is very, very likeable. He loves being at the football club. He's a Liverpool fan through and through. I don't get it, mate. I don't get it. I love Harvey Elliott. Good night, Craig. It's 12:40 a.m. in Kenya. Good night, my friend. Thank you for joining us, Mike, by the way. Appreciate you being in, mate, and get some rest. Stig, thank you, buddy. Stig has gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Very kind, sir. They've gone to Magnus. I don't know how to pronounce that other one because it's just, I don't even think it's a word. Abdul, Narwhal, and Stiggy. So thank you so much for that, Stig. You're very kind. Doku is dangerous. He is, yeah. Look, he is dangerous, but I don't know. Just there's certain players that I feel like come back and haunt us when we play against them. So I used to always be really scared of Leroy Sané when we played Man City. Even though he wouldn't necessarily be a starter, I always felt like he'd come off the bench and cause havoc. But of course, thankfully, he's at Bayern these days. I love Elliott, said Devin Diaz. He gives 100% or 110% every time he's on the pitch. I like Elliott, but come on, he's not going to be that top player. Why? Why? Honestly, I don't get it. I don't see why Elliott isn't good enough for Liverpool in your eyes, or be that top player. Why? Because he's not flashy enough, or because he's not scoring enough goals? I don't know. Like, fair enough to say I don't know where he's going to get a guaranteed starting place. Like, I don't know what Harvey Elliott's best position is. I think that's a fair shout. But I keep saying these things over and over again. You don't get managers praising you constantly if there's not something brilliant about your game. And Elliott has had that from Jurgen Klopp, now from the England under-21 manager, from his teammates. Klopp spoke about Elliott's counter press being almost the best in the team at some points, and statistically has been the best in the team in some games. I don't get it. Klopp is trying to make a new role with Maka. Elliott has a lot of passion and shows it. I appreciate him for that, said Deface Me Network. Are we linked to Moscardo? Somebody mentioned them yesterday in the chat, and I actually said I'm going to have a look into Moscardo. I didn't have a chance to do it because I watched that Man City documentary last night, but I think Gabriel Moscardo's name. Can you guys give me some background on Moscardo? What type of player is he? What age is? I don't know anything about the guy. Do you think Gakpo and Nunez are good together in a starting lineup? Yes, but with Nunez ahead of Gakpo. So, without wanting to give away my prediction, because I want you guys to go watch the video, I have Cody Gakpo in midfield for the Man City game. Because I think he's better utilised behind our front three. And I like how he can break a line. I like how he can drag defenders around the pitch, and I want us to have a go at Man City. So for me, yes, I would like to see Darwin ahead of him, but I do want Gakpo in behind. Craig, I've been watching you for a while. You keep me entertained. You're an absolute king. From Christian. Thank you, mate. You're very kind. I'm a normal dude. Honestly, mate. Nothing kingish about me in any way, shape or form. I like to think of it this way. I have a genuine love of the game. I'm Irish, so I can talk. And if you combine those two things, I think it comes across as genuine enthusiasm for the sport and the club. So, thank you. Do you think Nunez will reach Suarez levels? Oof. Oh, it's a good question, that. I don't know if he'll ever have El Pistolero's consistency of performance. In patches, I think could be better than Suarez. I just don't like. My favourite thing about Luis Suarez was that no matter what happened, dude gave it everything on the pitch. You could be 10-0 up or 10-0 down, you wouldn't know. He'd still be playing the same way. So there's a lot of that in Darwin as well. But, I don't know, man. Suarez did it for a long time at huge clubs. If he can, I'll tell you what, if he can in any way replicate it, we're on to a winner. Take it you would like Gomez at left back. Well, interestingly, no. I didn't go with Gomez at left back in my prediction, but I want you to watch it to find out why. Will Gravenberch be fit for the match against City? I believe so, yes. Why would you choose Maka over Curtis? Because Curtis has been coming back from an injury. And I don't know if he's going to be ready to play a full 90 minutes yet. And because I don't like Curtis Jones in the number 6 position at all. Like Curtis Jones on the left side of midfield, but not in the number 6. But mainly, it was because I don't know if he's ready to come back and play a full 90 yet. That was one of the reasons he wasn't in my 11. Craig, Kane had 213 goals. Salah has 149. If he extends his contract, you believe he'd catch that? It'd be close. If he extended it by 2 years and he had 3 years to go at the end of this year, he'd run it close. How come you didn't pick Elliott? Instead of who? Because the only option there is to play Elliott instead of Szoboszlai, and I'm not doing that. But let me say this. I love that you're pushing back on it, because it means we've got players that are causing headaches. And I'll take that every day of the week. I'll take somebody disagreeing with my team selection because we've got, a multitude of good players. That's great news. Happy days. The worst thing you can do is have a nailed on 11 and feel like the fringe players aren't good enough. So if we're all debating Curtis Jones over Elliott or Elliott and Gravenberch, brilliant. That means we're doing something right. Any tips to get out of a dinner-in-law with the in-laws on Saturday? They don't like football. I'm going to miss the game. Well, firstly, the fuck are you doing having dinner at 12:30 on a Saturday? Come on, mate. That should be enough for you to get out of it straight away. Too early for dinner. I mean, I don't mean to be the shithouse, mate, but potential COVID lie, or coming down with a flu or cold, you don't want to give it to the in-laws. That's actually, that are the kids.
How many times has your flu not been real then?
That are the kids is the lie to get out of it, isn't it?
Oh, one of the kids is sick. Like.
Yeah, the kids are great.
Yeah, don't really want to be travelling very far with the kid when it's sick. Like.
Yeah, you couldn't.
All over the car.
Or the dog. Can't leave the dog alone.
Can't leave the dog alone. Could choke on its own vomit. Like.
Was the dog a junkie in your mind?
No, like our dog, when it gets sick, tries to eat it sick. So.
Why do you keep coming in naked?
I'm not. Stop lying.
Your boobs say otherwise.
Stop lying.
I don't know why you're squatting now. That's just weird.
Fuck off. Goodbye.
Craig's getting moaned at. No, actually, to be fair, I'll probably get along with my in-laws better than my wife does.
they love you more than me. They replaced me with you. They've now got 2 boys instead of a boy and a girl.
Yeah, it's true. My in-laws love me, and I love them. They're actually really nice people.
Yeah, guess who gets the chocolate brought back from holidays? Because it's not their daughter.
Yeah, Sabrina said her parents come home from holidays with gifts for me. They'll give us something to share, knowing that she doesn't like it. There you go, Craig. Tell them you don't have any clothes to wear. There you go, Carson. We've sorted it out, mate, between us. Boom. We love it. Right, so before I finish up, I did say, who do you want us to sign, Inacio or Hincapie? And 62% of you legends have decided that Liverpool should sign Piero Hincapie over Goncalo Inacio. Boom. So look, weird as fuck. Oh, Sean, if you're new to Anfield Agenda, mate, this is only the tip of the icebergs of weirdness, dude. It's going to get a lot weirder, mate, if you stick around. So look, I'm going to say good night and lots of love to you all. I will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Myself and Adam are going to be doing our predictions. So it's going to be me and Adam against you guys, the top of the league audience. So 5 o'clock on top of the league tomorrow. I'll be back on here at 8:30 for Late Night Agenda, of course. Monday, we've got Leo's Goals coming up as well, so keep an eye out for that conversation. But most importantly, look after yourselves, be well, and don't forget, you're never short of excuses for the in-laws if you have the Anfield Agenda audience with you. Talk to you soon. I'm off to get naked. Bye-bye.